Hey everyone. I've had a few people ask for my advice on the Vero Beach Octopus Ultra, so I decided to make a quick survival guide for those of you who are running the race, and also for some of the crews, just so you can know what you're getting into. This video will lack any sort of production value, partially because I'm throwing it together last minute, it's a week before the race, and I'm quite the procrastinator. But I'm hoping that substance wins over production value, so let's get right to it. Before I do a course breakdown, I want to give some general tips for this race, and also for some other summer races. A lot of the information is generic, but I really want to drive the point home that this race it's more than difficult. It magnifies every poor decision you make, more so than any race I've ever done before. So all the following tips aside, I want you to view this race not as a 30, 50, 60, 100 miler, but as a series of decisions that gets you closer and closer to that finish line. The first one is pre-race. Are you drinking a lot of water? For me, hydration starts at least 5 days before a race, and the 2 to 3 days before a race are vitally important to me, making sure I get enough water, getting enough electrolytes too. Drinking water plus getting those electrolytes, that's a form of active recovery. You're helping yourself out by making sure that you take in enough water. So please, don't only focus on hydration right after the race starts, focus on hydration 5, 3, 2 days out, and you're gonna do so much better. The morning of the race, I also salt load as well. I'm going to aim for about 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams of sodium before the race even starts. And then during the daytime hours, I'm going to aim for about 1,200 milligrams of sodium an hour. And then at night, probably around 800 milligrams. This may seem like a ridiculous amount of sodium, but it's so hot out there and you're just drenched in sweat. You're gonna be wet the whole race, just drenched in sweat. You're gonna be losing salt. You're gonna be losing potassium. You're gonna be losing all those minerals. So please get your electrolytes. I'm using Element. I also use Liquid IV. Anything will work. Salt tabs, salt stick, rock salt. Get your electrolytes in, and don't just rely on it from food. Try to get it in your water. Gatorades are okay. They are high in sugar, low in sodium, low in potassium. I really like those dedicated packets, but whatever works for you. Now this next tip, it's in the race description. You're going to have no crew, no aid, none at all. Only at the Octo base, there's a little bit of food, some water, the general stuff, but out on the arms, you're on your own if you don't have a crew. And I can tell you, I've done a lot of 100 milers. This is the most difficult one I can think of that I've done to do it without a crew. You have races like, the Keys 100, but it's crew mandatory. You need a crew. There's very little water stops. This one, I'm actually surprised he's letting people do it without a crew. Mike's crazy, so he likes people that do crazy things. But just because you're allowed to do this without a crew isn't an invitation to think that this is an easy race by any means. The good news is, in the ultra community, everybody wants to see you succeed. From the other runners to the other crews, you're always going to have support out there. And I can speak from experience from last year in 2022. There was a number of crew that offered me water, offered me food, and I actually took up some of those offers, topping off my water bottles. So if you find yourself out on the course without water and there's another crew around, chances are they're going to offer it to you before you even ask. That being said, don't go into this race uncrewed expecting to rely on everybody else's crews. You need to have it in your mind that you're going to be on your own out there. You need to plan it so that if there is no crew at a stop, or you're on a section where there's nobody around for a while and you're in trouble, that you have a game plan to get out of trouble and get back to that Octo base and get your hydration, get your nutrition, get yourself right. So know that there is help out there, but plan as if there's going to be absolutely no help. I rarely change my shoes during a race. For a Cross Florida 200, I wore a single pair of shoes the entire 200 miles, 67 hours, changed socks a few times, but only had that single pair of shoes. I can tell you right now for Vero Beach, I'm bringing at least 5 pairs of shoes, if not 7, 2 of those being trail shoes. Your feet are going to get absolutely soaked. Your shoes are going to get soaked to the bone. Socks, shoes, feet, it's going to be soggy the whole time. I'm planning on changing my shoes at least once an arm, just to prevent my feet from getting macerated. Last year at mile 50, I had a very poor foot care plan, and by mile 50, my feet were macerated, I had blisters forming, and I spent the last 50 miles limping to the finish line in absolute pain. Seeing that it's Florida, there's probably going to be an afternoon thunderstorm, so your feet are going to get soaked no matter what. But I can tell you, it's going to be hot out there. You know this. It's going to be in the 90s. even if it doesn't rain at all, you're going to be drenched in sweat. Your feet are going to absorb all that sweat as it falls down, and soggy, salty socks lead to intense blisters. So have a good foot care plan, have changes of shoes, have changes of socks, and I definitely recommend having an anti-chafe ointment for your feet. I like salty britches. I also like trail toes. I like Squirrel's nut butter. Vaseline works. Decidin. I don't care what you use. I just ask you to use something. Okay, those are just some quick tips that I had. So now let's get on to those routes. So right away, a lot of you are going to ask, how well is the course marked? In my opinion, the course is marked extremely well. You could have the GPX files downloaded to your watch, follow that. Honestly, I didn't use GPX files once last year. The course was so well marked that I was able to navigate it pretty easily, even at night. That being said, I did study the course for quite a bit before I went into that race, so I had a good understanding of where to go. So the course markers were more of a reminder of where to go, but I can say that he made it pretty easy to follow, especially in those sections where you go one way or another way, or even if a section goes over the same route, he has which arm it is, which way to go for whichever arm you're on. Trust me, it's really well marked. Now, what you can do, if you can't get the GPX files onto your watch, you can just bookmark the routes on plotteroute.com or whatever it is. Bookmark it to your phone, and if you get in trouble, pull it up. You're always going to have service out there. There wasn't any time where I didn't have service, so if you need it, you'll be able to pull up that course and you'll be good to go. But honestly, I found it so easy to navigate that I doubt you're even going to need that. Okay, so now on to Arm 1, Awakening. Okay, so here's arm number 1. We're going to take a quick look at the Octo base from above. So right here is where everyone's going to have their tents. Right in this area. Yeah. The start and the finish is going to be right here. It was last year. It's probably going to be around this area this year. So tents set up probably right around here would be perfect. Just right along this section. At 6 a.m. sharp, we're all going to take off. Pretty self-explanatory here. You're going to come out, go up, over the bridge. This bridge is pretty narrow, but they have it coned off. This is a pretty narrow section right here. It's 2 miles, no crew stopping here. Crew will have a chance to stop right here, but nothing much to say here. It's just 2 miles straight to the beach. Once you get to the beach, here's where some crew will be parked. People to cheer you on, swap out a water bottle. You probably shouldn't need your crew to meet you here, but if they want to cheer you on, hey, they're welcome to. Right after that, you're hopping right on the beach. So this section of beach, it's 5 miles, goes all the way down. This whole section of beach, it's amazing. The sand is hard packed. It's really runnable. I think I was doing about 8-minute 15 to 8-minute 20-second miles the entire way, which for me was way too fast. But that just goes to show that it's extremely runnable. There's a slight decline toward the water, of course, it's the beach, but for the most part, it's an amazing way to start off your day. Beautiful sunrise, just don't go out too hard. And next, you have this little section right here. I saw some crew parking over here, walking over and cheering runners on. You really shouldn't need your crew to meet you here. There's going to be plenty of chances for that later on. But you're going to come off the beach here, go across. There's a crossing right here where they had a cop last year, just to make sure you could safely cross. And then right along here. So this whole section down A1A, it's beautiful, very large sidewalk. You go by some really nice houses, some really nice parks, really nice areas. But what I want to mention is that your crew can stop pretty much anywhere along here to aid you as long as there's a place for them to park. What I mean by that is you see this grassy area right here? That is where your crew can pull in, aid you. Don't have them sit there for, a really long time. Just if you need something, they can pull off here. I saw it happen a lot. But please do not pull in this bike lane. The Vero Beach cyclists get very angry. As they should, because it's pretty much their lane. However, I did see some conflicts last year, some arguments with cyclists and cars, so if you do pull off to the side and there's a grassy section with no parking lot, please pull all the way off out of that bike lane. Other than that, this is still an amazing section. The sun's starting to come up, it's starting to get a little hot, but you can still make some decent time. Don't push the pace too hard, but just know that this is going to be the best you're going to feel all day, so keep a decent pace, but don't burn yourself out. Right here, there's going to be signs, you're not going to be able to miss this. There's perfect shade here. This is a nice little trail, not very technical, just a very nice section to go through. And then right here, this is a good spot to have your crew meet you if you want to. It says there's a bathroom around here. I think I read that there was a hose around here for water. I've never stopped and checked. It's so close to the Octo base that I just kind of came through and went right on a jungle trail. But if you do need your crew to stop and assist you, right here is perfect parking. Next, you're going to go down Jungle Trail. You're going to be doing a lot of Jungle Trail today, so don't worry. We'll be talking about that. But just want to make a note that this is not a very wide road. I think it's a car and a half length wide, maybe 2 cars at some points, but try not to have your crew stop on this section. It's not a great section to stop on. There's a lot of through traffic, so just don't, be safe. Stop at the designated crew areas. Other than that, you're going to come right here. This is nice because you can kind of see that bridge. You see where you're going. It's a little daunting, but it's pretty cool that you can see that bridge. You're going to come around here, right back over the bridge, right back to the Octo base. You're going to cross that start-stop point, and you're going to turn right back around, and you're going to head right back out. So to sum up Arm 1, it's going to be fun. It's going to be right in the morning. You're going to feel great. That sunrise on the beach is amazing, but make sure to pace yourself. Make sure to understand that you have a lot of race left, especially if you're doing those longer distances. But take this 14 miles and really appreciate what you're doing. Really appreciate the magnitude of the race. You're running an ultramarathon. You're going to feel incredible, and it's going to get tough, but you can do it. And now let's take a look at Arm 2, the ring. So here we have Arm number 2. I'm going to tell you right now, Arm number 2. This one, 2 and 3 probably scare me the most out of the entire day, so I'll let you know why. This is going to be really hot. They're really long arms. It's going to be pretty tough. But, you're going to start the Octo base again. Nothing new there. You're going to go around, and this time you're going to go the opposite way down Bridge Boulevard. Pretty open to the sun here. It's getting pretty hot by this point in the day. And then right here, you're going to turn it into this dirt pathway. And then you're going to cut through some little thickets, and then here you are right into your first sauna of the day. Now, it's kind of hard to see. You can kind of make it out here, but there is no canopy here. There's no shade. There's trees on either side of you. There's bushes on either side of you, so you're going to have no breeze at all. You're going to have direct sunlight, and additionally, tons of standing water here. The race director said there's been tons of standing water on this section, so there's going to be mosquitoes, there's going to be direct sunlight. Just make sure that you be very, very, very safe on this portion. Drink your water, use your sunscreen, use whatever shade you can find. Now you're going to continue on here. Again, this is going to be all very well marked. You're not going to get lost as long as you're paying attention. I know that heat can start to play with your head, but just pay attention to those signs. This looks confusing here. I'm going to give a word on it in a moment, but just so you know, as I said, signs are great. You're not going to get lost. You're going to come down here, go through here. This is all, it's pretty straightforward. Right here, I believe, is where there's a trailhead. There's a little parking lot. So your crew can meet you here, I believe. Double check me on that. What I'm going to say right now, you're going to look at this, and this is almost 3 miles into your Arm 2. You're going to think, I do not need a crew for 3 miles in. That's ridiculous. Don't underestimate how hot this area can be. A lot of people are going to want their crew to meet them right here at that kayak launch. I suggest having a plan to where they meet you here or possibly here. Don't plan on getting all the way to that kayak launch before you meet your crew. It's going to be hot. You're going to be sweating. Personally, by this point, I'm probably going to have drinking about 20 to 30 ounces of water on this arm alone, just because it's so scorching. And I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but just from past experience, this section was so freaking hot. Getting back to it, you're going through here. This is all new this year. I haven't seen this before. It was on this road last year, so this should be a little extra fun for this year. But jumping ahead, going right down, you're going to come through, you're going to get to this kayak launch. Now, there's plenty of spots for your crew to park along here. Not too many spots here. This gets kind of crowded, but you're going to come through here, and then you're going to do this little section right here. Again, this is going to get really hot. Now, the thing about this section is there's going to be a little bucket that's around, it was around this area last year, where you pick up it's a little trinket. It's how you get on the pontoon boat. If you try to get on the pontoon boat, they will not accept you unless you have your little trinket ticket. make sure that when you go around this loop, you pick up your little trinket, you go through, and you hop on that pontoon boat. Now the pontoon boat, it pulls up pretty closely, but it can't pull up, all the way because there's some rocks. It gets pretty shallow here, so you're gonna get your feet wet. Now you can either take your shoes off, you can leave your shoes on, or you can beg your crew to carry you and throw you on that boat. But either way, when you go straight across and hit here, your feet are going to get wet regardless. They'll help you off the pontoon boat, but you're going to wade through about ankle deep's worth of water when you get off the pontoon boat. Just bear that in mind. Now, this hole in the wall island, very runnable trail. There was some decent shade in some areas, no shade in others, but it wasn't flooded. All the water drains inward and outward, so the trail itself, very dry, very runnable, not very technical. It's going to be a nice little 2 miles around here. Very pretty. After that, you're going to hop right back on the pontoon boat. We're going to go back across. You're going to meet up with your crew, or if you're not crewed, you're going to beg another crew for some water because you're going to realize you just made some bad choices. And then you're going to head right back. Now, jumping right back over to here, you're going to head all the way back, and then you're going to get here, and then again, tons of signs. You won't miss it. You're going to go all the way through. Where is it? And then you're going to go out to that dock. So you're going to turn here, go out to the dock. Last year they had watermelon popsicles. You get a little treat. You get to sit down, look at the water, really appreciate what you've gotten yourself into. And you're going to come off, come back down this way, come through here, and it's pretty much a straight shot back the way you came. Pretty easy to follow. Right back to Bridge Boulevard, down Bridge Boulevard, right back around to the Octo Base. And congrats, you just got done with possibly one of the 2 most physically challenging arms of the day. So my main advice for arm 2 would be to pace yourself. That arm 1, it was super runnable. The sun was just coming up. You're feeling great. That arm 2, it's another 14 miles. It's 14 miles. It's going to be through some pretty hot and intense areas. So pace yourself. Remember, it's a marathon. It's an ultra marathon, not a sprint. So take it easy. Make sure you stay hydrated. These are some sections where in previous years I've really failed on hydration, failed on nutrition, pushed the pace a little too hard, and I really suffered from it. So take it easy. You got a lot more race left. If you're doing the 50K, you don't have much more race left, but you're still going to appreciate taking it a bit slower. Next, let's take a look at arm 3, Gates of Hell. So arm number 3, this one is new this year. This one did not exist previously, so very excited to see what this one has in store. I'll try to give a few tips just from what I've seen posted online and tips in general. But you're going to start at the Octo Base, no shock there. You're going to follow that same route as arm number 2, except instead of turning in off here, you're going to keep going straight. This is pretty busy, probably not going to have any police officers assisting, so just be careful. Don't try to rush through here. Don't try to dodge cars, obeyed by the laws of traffic. You still have a lot of race left in you. You're going to come down here, and then from the looks of it, you're going to turn in here, and now begins this fun little few mile section around here. A lot of sand here, should be pretty dry. Personally, I'm going to use road shoes. However, if you want to use trail shoes, go for it. It just depends on how you're feeling, but I think this is going to be pretty dry, so road shoes should be fine. What I'm personally going to do, because I am uncrewed, I'm going to bring a ton of water, a bunch of soft flasks, a bunch of handhelds, and I'm going to dump it right here. I'm going to take my pack off, I'm going to grab my handhelds, and then I'm going to do my loop. One loop, handheld, refill them. Second loop, same thing. Third loop, get the water, put it back on, and then head right on back. I don't know if there's any spots for crew to park. It looks like there's a lot of room here, but I am not sure. That could be an option if you're crewed. Just have your crew hold all your stuff and just do your laps. Personally, with loops like this, I see no reason to carry all your stuff per loop. There's no rule against dumping your stuff and coming back to it. So that's what I'm going to do. After you do your loops, you're going to head right on back, straight the way you came, back to the Octo Base. This looks like a short section, but this is a 10-mile section. This is a mile or two around each of these loops. This is going to get hot, so if you're uncrewed, do like me, bring as much water as you can, dump it here. You're going to have direct sunlight. It's going to be freaking hot. Like I said, this is probably the second physically most challenging arm of the day, so just make sure you got your water. There's no real places to get any aid out here if you're alone. I think there's a CVS over here. You could use that. So either on your way out, on your way back, you can possibly get some aid. but by that point you're so close to the Octo base, it shouldn't really matter anyway. Just be safe. That right there, that's arm number 3, and I'm excited to experience that with you guys first time. So again, kind of like arm 2, my main advice for arm 3 would be to take it slow. This is the hottest point of the day. You're going to be miserable, especially doing the laps around that sandy section. This section should be pretty dry, so you could probably get away with wearing some road shoes. You could also wear trail shoes. Either way, it really just depends on how you're feeling. Okay, now let's take a look at arm 4, Jumanji. Okay, so now we have arm number 4. This one is either going to be very fun or very hard depending on how you pace yourself for those first 3 arms. This one can be miserable or it can be very fast paced, and I'll just jump right into it and explain what I mean. So as usual, Octo base, you're going to come out and you're going to go over that Wabasso bridge. You're going to come here, and so right here, this is Jungle Trail. On that arm number 1, here's where you came out of the first time. So for this arm number 4, you're going to be going the opposite way down Jungle Trail. Now, I'll tell you right now, from here to about right here, Jungle Trail is beautiful. There's a nice canopy of trees. There's plenty of shade. You're feeling that breeze. This is a walk in the park. This is amazing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then you get right to here, and then it just opens up. It gets really dense on either side, so very little breeze, a lot of sunlight. Be careful. If you see here, it looks pretty wide. Again, there's some sections that are wide, some that are not, about a car and a half length wide. Please do not drive on here. If you're in a crew car, try to go to the designated stops. Meet here if you need to. Meet at the end. But please, this gets flooded. There's people that live on this jungle trail. It's just not logistically having a bunch of crew cars going back and forth. It's not going to be fun. You're going to have people trying to back up their cars. You're going to have head-on-head altercations with other cars, so please avoid this road. However, if your runner is in trouble and they desperately need you, I saw last year that there were some cars that were driving on here, so hopefully you don't get DQ'd for that. But just to avoid any altercations, just hold off and see if you can meet your crew right at this area. This area is about 6 miles in. You shouldn't need any help on this jungle trail. This is pretty easy, even though it's open to the sun, but very straightforward shot. And so if you see right here, your crew can park here. You can get water here if you need to, if you're uncrewed. There's 2 different restrooms. There's a water fountain. This is where I'm going to fill up all my water. Just make sure you go all the way to the end first before you come on back, meet up with your crew, get situated, and then right back down Jungle Trail. So as a word of advice, this was the route, this was the arm where I forgot my foot care and my feet got absolutely macerated from the sweat, from the heat of this hot road. Yeah, I'd say between the sweat and the heat of the road, that really tore my feet up and I messed up big time. So please have a pair of socks, have some anti-chafe ointment for your feet, have your crew meet you with another pair of shoes if you need to. Just make sure your feet are taken care of, because I was bonking by this point, my feet were blistered, and so this became a real tough point in the race for me. But if you paced arms 1, 2, and 3 very well, there should be no reason why you shouldn't be able to keep a good run-walk strategy for this section. Other than that, look at it. It's just very straightforward and out and back. You're going to come right around here, go right back to the Octo base as usual. And like I said, on number 4, it's very straightforward, very runnable, and you're going to appreciate taking it easy for arms 1, 2, and 3 when you're absolutely tearing it up on this arm 4. So my general advice for arm 4 would be to push the pace if you can. It's going to be the hottest part of the day, but you just got through 2 of the toughest sections. So if the sun's not affecting you that badly, you got a little more in you, try to make up some good time on Jungle Trail. Of course, don't push it too hard. A lot of Jungle Trail is shaded, but a lot of it is no canopy, direct sunlight. So this section is going to be hot, but this one should be a little bit easier, a little more fun, and logistically a lot easier for your crew. So enjoy yourself. This is what you signed up for. Next, let's take a look at Arm 5, the Blair Beach Project. So here we have Arm number 5. Last year, this one was much different. You went out, you went down, got to a turnaround point, and then headed right back. It was another out and back. It was kind of a slog. So I'm happy to see this year that he included more of a loop to minimize the out and back sections. Let's hop into it with some tips. As usual, out of the Octo base, over the bridge. You're going to be getting sick of this bridge by this point. It's not very high, but you're not going to want to go up and down it anymore. You have a couple more traversals though. You're going to go here, and so for Arm 4 you went this way on Jungle Trail. You're going to go the exact opposite way down Jungle Trail. To reiterate, crew on Jungle Trail, it's very tough, especially this arm last year. It was raining profusely. It was crazy rain, and right from here to about here was just mud. There were cars driving through it, but it was pretty thick mud. There was no way to keep your feet dry. They were just getting destroyed. Try not to have your crew vehicle drive here because you're going to tear up that trail. And then also when you're running on it, just be aware that there's a very good chance that you may be getting through some mud right here. Once you get off Jungle Trail, you're going to hit this little road. There's spots all on here for your crew to meet you. It's getting pretty late at this point for most runners, so crew should be able to meet you all along here. However, I recommend waiting to see your crew until this section right on the beach. So quick reiteration, there's going to be signs. You're not going to miss this turnoff. And for most runners, there should still be a good amount of crew left out on the course. So you're going to see the crew vehicles here. It's going to be later. There should be adequate parking here. Last year, it was raining. It was around 6 or 7 p.m. and there was no issue with crew parking here when I saw the other crews. You're going to go right by here and you're going to hit the beach. Now, this section of beach, it's going to be beautiful. You're going to see either that sunset or it's going to start getting dark. This is just, it's a nice mirror of the morning. You're going to be tired, but you're still going to appreciate that beauty just from a different angle with a couple more miles on your legs. You're going to go all the way down the beach, and then if you really need to, your crew, there should be some spots here. Again, it's going to be later, so should be a spot for your crew to meet you here. If not, again, you have A1A. There should be areas where your crew can stop, give you some assistance. You're going to go down, and you're going to go right through that little preserve. This is the same one you went through on Arm 1. You're going to go right through, hit that same area. Again, great spot for crew, but you're going to be so close to the Octo base, I would just skip it unless you really need some water or you're really hurting. But back down Jungle Trail, back down Bridge Boulevard, over the bridge, and right back to the Octo base. And congrats for most people, you just got 100K done. But unfortunately, if you're doing a 100-miler, you still have some arms left. And bad news is the next 2 arms are probably the most mentally excruciating arms that I've ever done. So my general advice for Arm 5 would be just to say congratulations. You've probably made it to nighttime by now. The sun's going to go down. It's going to start cooling off a little bit. That beach at the end of the day, during that sunset, or even after the sun's gone down, it's amazing. It's way different than in the daytime when you're running on Jungle Trail, when you're running in those hot sections. This is kind of like a tie back to the morning miles on the beach where you're going to be in a lot more pain, but it's going to be just as beautiful seeing that sunset. And it's going to prepare you for these next few arms, which are, in my opinion, the mentally toughest sections of any race that I've ever done. Okay, now let's take a look at Arm 6, the Sixth Sense. Okay, arm number 6. This arm doesn't look hard, and physically it's not tough. But mentally, this is the second hardest challenge I've ever faced mentally in a race ever. So let's get right into it and I'll explain. Out of the Octo base again, going down this way. You're going to hit the road, and this is just, it's a sidewalk. It is a sidewalk that goes on forever. There's nothing to see. There's a few street lights, there's a few small businesses, but you're going down the sidewalk in the middle of the night. I'm having PTSD flashbacks just looking at all this. It doesn't seem very daunting. It probably seems silly that I'm even talking about it this way, but this is just an absolute slog to get through. That's probably partially because my feet were just destroyed, but you're going to get to this point, and here's where it starts getting a little more interesting. You're going to turn off here. Should be a sign here unless somebody stole it, which I hope they don't. But going down here, it starts to get a little bit more sights. You get to look at the water. There's some bathrooms, some parks, a few more people out. You don't feel quite as lonely as you did on that long stretch of road. By this point, it was pretty late for me, so it was getting to that point in the race where it was lonely and I wasn't seeing very many other runners. Right along here somewhere, I think maybe here, there's a bar. I passed it. There was beers, there was fried food, there was burgers. It was very tempting to stop, even though I didn't. This year, if I'm having a real hard time, I may just stop and get a quick road beer and a burger, but if I'm doing well, I'm going to unfortunately skip that. You're going to go all the way down till you get to the cemetery. Now, this is only about a 0.2, maybe a 0.25 trek through the cemetery. It wasn't really spooky, but I was kind of in a lot of pain, so I was wishing for a death's sweet release by this point. Here's a nice gazebo where I stopped, and I used one of the pins for my bib to pop a blister in my foot, so that has fond memories. This is going to be a real short trek. It's fun. It's a little gimmicky, but I don't think your pacer can assist you in this area. I think that's a rule. So if you are using a pacer, they cannot go to the cemetery with you. They need to meet you here or wait here. Once you get done with the cemetery, it's right back the way you came. Oh, man. Just a straight shot down the sidewalks. There was some good water fountains, some good benches along this area, so if you need to stop, get a drink of water, rest. It's a very, very beautiful place to do it. But I suggest just keep on going and just try to get back. Oh, again, just PTSD flashbacks from the slog of this road. Once you get done with that, though, right back to the Octo base. Not really many tips for this section other than just keep on going, don't stop, and you've just got through one of the hardest mental arms the race has to offer, but unfortunately the hardest is up next. My general advice for Arm 6 is just to get through it. It's not a hard section at all by any means, but man, it really starts playing the mind games with you. It's extremely boring. The graveyard, it's not that scary. At least last year I was pretty beat up, so it wasn't scary to me, but just get through Arm 6, you're getting there, you're close. Unfortunately, you still have Arm 7, which is the toughest mental challenge I've had in quite a while. Speaking of Arm 7, let's get right to it. Arm 7 is called the Swarm. So again, good news, you got done with Arm number 6. That was the second hardest mental route that I've ever had to take on any race. Bad news is, Arm number 7, this is the toughest mental challenge I've ever faced during a race. So without further ado, just jumping on into it. Out of the Octo base, right over the bridge. You're going to be cursing this bridge by this point. You're going to go straight down. You're going to pass Jungle Boulevard. You're going to go right before you get to the beach. You're going to turn off on A1A, and you have a slog down A1A to get through. This makes that last section look like beautiful sightseeing because it just gets so boring. It's pitch black. You only see the light of your headlamp. Now, one bit of advice if you're uncrewed is that as you're coming through here, I suggest topping off your water here. I'll explain why. There's not very many stops down at the end, but this is like a 0.15 mile detour, so it's not very far out of the way. There's a bathroom here. That's the same one we stopped at in Arm number 4. There's, I think there's a hose. There's definitely a water fountain, so stop, top off your water, and keep on trucking all the way down here. There's some spots, I think, for your crew to turn off on. It's going to be pretty late, so there's not going to be very much traffic. Right around here is where I saw some crew pull off on. There's plenty of spots to park. Right here is where you're going to start your trek into this little nature area. Don't do what I did and try to stop and take a nap right here. The mosquitoes are going to eat you alive. They actually caused me to get my butt up and head out a lot quicker, but unfortunately, right along here, this is a very beautiful trail. It's at nighttime, so it's going to be pretty humid, but again, not direct sunlight, hopefully. The only downside is there are giant orb weavers and gigantic banana spiders. I'm going to put a picture of those banana spiders up in a second, so trigger warning about spiders, but you're going to see these little bastards everywhere. Going on down, you're going to make your way through here. Honestly, I picked up a stick at this point and was just waving the stick in front of my face because my headlamp wasn't picking them up till like the last second and they were right in my face. So I was trying to get the webs out of my right in front of my face. Not fun memories, but before you know it, you're going to be right out here, go to the end of this jetty, and then congratulations, you have to go all the way back. Now, it looks like right around here, there's some good crew parking. Additionally, you could park here, but I'm not sure if you're going to be allowed to get in here. There's a gate. I'm not sure if there's going to be anybody manning that gate to take payment to get in, so it looks like right here would be a decent crew stop. Last year, we actually had to go down to the end here and turn around and go back. This worked out really well because there's a bathroom down here with a water fountain and toilets. However, if you want to make that stop this year, you're going to probably add at least 1.5 miles to 2 miles onto your race. So that's why I suggest stopping at that previous restroom. Additionally, there's a toilet restroom here, but that's again probably about 1 mile added total to your trip if you go this way. Probably about 1.5 miles if you try to cut in and get it from this way. So these 2 restrooms I suggest skipping, and on your way out and especially on your way back, just stopping by this one. It's pretty much on the way. It's, I think in total, if you make 2 stops at it, it's like a 0.2, maybe 0.25 mile detour. So if you're uncrewed, that's not a very much of a penalty to get all the water you need. After that, you're trekking all the way back. This one, it was about mile 90, and I considered calling the race director Mike and saying, hey, come pick me up, I quit. That's how mentally beaten down I was, how physically in pain I was. But I'm really happy that I didn't give in, because once I got to that Octo base and finished on number 7, the race was pretty much over. And just after that was the victory lap, that victory lap being Pyromania. Okay, that's the swarm. My general advice for Arm 7 would be to get through it, power through mental. You're going to be feeling physically tired at this point, but really, mentally, it's going to just be so tough. You're going to want to quit. This was the one where I think I was 90 miles into the race, and I thought about calling up the race director Mike and saying, hey, come pick me up. This is bullshit. I don't want to do it anymore. But I decided to not quit 90 miles into a 100-mile race, and I'm happy I didn't, but that just goes to show you how mentally tough this particular section can be. So with that, if you've gotten through this, congratulations, you're pretty much done. And now you just got the victory lap, which is Arm 8 Pyromania. So congratulations, you've pretty much completed the Vero Beach Octopus Ultra, and this is your victory lap. So there's not much to this lap, but I'm just going to walk you through my experience from last year. We can relive that victory lap from my point of view. As soon as you come out of this Octo base, this is the last time you're going to do this. This is incredible. You are going to feel so freaking good. You're going to go right up that bridge. You're not even going to care about this bridge. You just conquered this bridge. If you're like me, you're going to be cheering at the top of it because this is the last time, second to last time you have to go up and over it. You're going to come right down here, wide bike lane. You're going to be kind of cursing the concrete, but you know what? You're almost done. It's not your problem soon. Last year, we had to stop at the fire department, which was, I think, around here. But you know what? This year, you get a little bit extra. You get to go all the way down right to this beach. For me this year, I'm going to dip my feet in that water. I'm even jumping in the water depending on how I feel, just because I want to say that I conquered the octopus. So you're going to go to this water, at least on the beach. You're going to turn around, and you're going to head right back the way you came. Man, you're going to be feeling good at this point because you are so close to finishing the octopus. All that joy, all that elation that you felt climbing that bridge, the start of this arm, it's going to go away. You're going to start getting kind of pissed off that you have to do it one last time because your adrenaline's going to be fading just a little bit. However, you're going to get to the top and you're going to be able to see that EEL, that Environmental Learning Center. So you're going to be able to see it. That's going to pump you up one more time, and you're going to haul ass down this bridge. You're going to come through here. You're going to slow down just a little bit because that adrenaline it pushed you a little too fast. You're going to come around here, making good time because you're almost done. You're right there. You're going to turn this corner, and if you get right here, if you're like me, you're just going to start sprinting because you want to make everyone think that you ran hard the whole way. You're going to haul ass around this corner, and there it is. Right as you turn this corner, you're going to see that start-stop line. You're going to know that you are about to be done with the octopus. You're going to sprint across it, you're going to cheer, and then immediately your legs are going to lock up, your feet are going to start hurting from those blisters, and you'd collapse if it wasn't for Mike Straczynski coming towards you with that octopus buckle. You're going to accept it. You're going to know that you just completed one of the, if not the hardest ultramarathon in Florida. Congratulations. You are absolutely incredible. So that's it. Advice for Arm 8, enjoy it. Enjoy the fact that you just made this giant accomplishment. Arm 8 last year was incredible, especially after the mental battle I had on Arm 6 and 7 from being so boring, plus my feet being in excruciating pain. Arm 8, like, all the pain went away. Legs felt good, feet felt good. I was just focused on finishing. I was so happy. And that pain came right back as soon as I crossed the finish line. But as you're running toward that beach, the sun's coming up or the sun's already up, and as you're coming back, knowing that you're going to be done, you're going to get your buckle, you've just conquered this, you're going to feel incredible, and you're going to really be happy that you toughed it out and that you made this incredible accomplishment. So I hope this video helped you. Please leave any questions down in the comments below. I'll be posting this to Facebook as well on the Vero Beach Octopus Facebook page, so join that. Ask some questions there. I want to help in any way that I can, give any tips that I can. The race director, Mike, he's great. I think he's putting together his own PDF version of the Octopus Survival Guide. Additionally, if you go on their Facebook, people are posting different crew stops and strategies, so you'll have a lot more information for crew specifically on where to stop, what sections you can get into, and man, that's all I have. Again, I hope this helped you. Sorry the production quality wasn't great, but it's like I said, it's a week before the race. I promised people I was going to do this, and I procrastinated, and now it's time to get it done. So I'm excited to see you next weekend, and I know you're going to do something amazing.